What's up, everybody? Spinner Swallow Beer Review, Shagdog. And we're doing Clown Shoes Brewing's Pumpkin Sombrero. It is a stout. Matter of fact, it is well, it's considered a pumpkin beer, but it's in the style of a Mexican stout, Mexican chocolate stout. I'm not going to read all the info about it, but full-bodied and chock full of luscious dark malt flavored pumpkin sombrero supplements the hallmarks of a classic Mexican-style chocolate stout with seasonal spice and pumpkin puree for a twist of the seasonal sweetness. Now, Clown Shoes Brewing, we've done a couple, even when I lived in Florida and did beer reviews live with Jammer, we did a couple Clown Shoes. I've never been a big Clown Shoes fan, like, oh my God, but there's been a couple Clown Shoes that were okay, so hopefully this is one of the good ones. So, yeah, let's get into it. And if you look at the label, it's almost like it's a wrestler there, like a Mexican luchador or whatever, wrestling with some type of pumpkin dude. I can't read all the things for you, but if you turn around here, he wins, and I guess he's thinking back, let me go get this pumpkin's head, and then over here he's wearing the top of the pumpkin out as a sombrero. That's the Mexican pumpkin sombrero, I guess. He beats the pumpkin man and wears part of him as his sombrero. There you go. Let's get into this. I love stouts. I've had a few Mexican chocolate stouts, so hopefully it's good as the rest of them. Most of them have been pretty good, I think. I've only had about 3 or 4 Mexican chocolate stouts, so here we go. I mean, I pretty much like American chocolate stouts, but, you know, maybe they're a little spiced up a little bit. A little heat, a little bit of heat. Maybe, I don't know if they add, like, wow. Got like a rich chocolate smell to it. Pumpkin, nutmeg, maybe a little bit of allspice. Yeah. Pumpkins, some spices, maybe a little allspice, cinnamon, maybe even a little ginger in there. Roasted dark malts, chocolate. So we're ready for it. I'm ready to do it. How about you? Let's get to it. Happy Halloween to everybody. Trick or treat. I'd rather have the treats. Don't like to be tricked. Here you go. Shagdog Spinner Swallow Beer Review. No Jammer, but we're thinking of them. And I'm also thinking of my good buddy, the hacker, KD, passed away 3 years ago on the 27th. It was a 3 year. So, you know, it would have been his 53rd birthday a couple weeks ago, and he passed away on the 27th 3 years ago. So, here's you, brother. And we had some good Halloween times too. Matter of fact, before I get started, me and my best friend Kevin Dieter in high school, and my brother Diddy, not the Diddy you're thinking of, Halloween, I don't know if that was my junior year or senior year, but we decided to dress up a little bit and go out trick-or-treating. Well, me and Kev dressed up somewhat. I forget what the hell we dressed up as, but all Diddy did was dress normal. He had a red baseball cap on, a big gold chain, some type of weird shirt they would normally wear, and we go to this door, and the guy's like, "Aren't you guys too old to be trick-or-treating?" I'm like, we're still in high school, yeah. And then the guy looks at my brother and goes, "What the hell are you supposed to be?" He's like, "I'm a rapper." That was pretty funny. Good times. Halloween memories. There's more coming. Cheers. Salute. to my Mexican friends and Puerto Rican friends. I don't believe Puerto Rico's a floating garbage. Now, if you took that joke out of context, Puerto Rico, because of the two hurricanes, among other things, a small island, they're running out of landfill space. In 2 to 4 years, Puerto Rico will be out without landfill space. So it's a joke about all the garbage in Puerto Rico, and there's nowhere to put it. It's not about Puerto Rican people being garbage. So that's taken out of context. It's a stupid joke to make, but yeah, what you get, that's what you get when you put a comedian up there. Don't put comedians up there, please. Because even if we had a written script, they're going to go offhand. Comedians go offhand sometimes. Yeah? Maybe he saw a couple of Puerto Ricans in the crowd, and he's like, "Yeah, I got a good joke for you guys." Yeah. But anyhow, yeah, let's get to this one. It smells great. Yeah. A little. There's got to be some. I don't know if I can't read it. They got such small print on there. I don't think it says on Beer Advocate. I mean, it doesn't taste hot, but it tastes like there's some type of spice in there. Like, you know, I don't know if it says it on Beer Advocate. Let's see. Seasonal spice of pumpkin puree. It doesn't say nothing about any heat or anything, but tastes pretty good. Pumpkin, chocolate, some spices, maybe a little bit of allspice, cinnamon, nutmeg. There's some, it's not like a heat, but there's got to be something in there, like some type of spicy jalapeno, not jalapeno, but maybe a hint of habanero or some type of chili pepper or something. Very, very slight. I could barely pick it. There's something in there. It's spicy, you know. I don't know if anybody on Beer Advocate can pick that up, or let's go look at Beer Advocate. Blah, blah, blah. Hint of missing. Okay, I'll see nothing there. Smoky. Nothing there. Pumpkin, nutmeg, chocolate. I mean, maybe it's just all those spices together. I'll pick up a little pumpkin, chocolate, nutmeg, cinnamon, maybe a little bit of ginger, a little bit of allspice. Maybe it's just all that together. It almost tastes like, and that's maybe what's in a chocolate Mexican stout. Yeah. I don't know. Thanks for the comment. Let's check ya. Puerto Rico also has beautiful beaches and blonde-haired chicas, so I hear. But it's a possibility. There's been a lot of gringos been there, so. I'm guessing more spices. I mean, if you go to Beer Advocate, Mexican Stout is not even a style on Beer Advocate, I don't believe. I mean, according to Beer Advocate, this is just a pumpkin beer. But let me see if there's a. I don't think there's a Mexican Stout style, actually. According to Beer Advocate, let's check. Stouts. American Imperial, American Stout, English Stout, Foreign Export Stout, Dry Irish Dry. What the hell? Oh, I got some commercial coming up. What's going on here? I don't know if you guys could hear that. I don't even know where that's coming from. That's coming from Beer Advocate. What the hell? Ads popping up on Beer Advocate. Man, that was loud as shit. Anyhow. Yeah, no Mexican Stout actual style. So I think it's just a typical American stout, but it's got chocolate or whatever. And then depending on the ABV, this is 7%. Beer Advocate considers this a pumpkin beer because any beer it has, whether it's an ale or a stout, they mostly consider it a pumpkin beer if it has pumpkin in it. But I would think this would be an American stout probably, most likely. I don't know if you heard that damn music that popped up really loud. Oh my god, that was horrible. Yeah, sweet milk stout, Russian Imperial, oatmeal, Irish dry. So yeah, there's a couple. There's one I did by Birdsong Brewing Company out of North Carolina. They had a pretty good Mexican stout. I think it was called Mexical or something like that stout. It's just, I think, more spices in it. And this one, basically the same. It just has pumpkin in it or whatever. So, I mean, I could probably Google it to see what's in a Mexican stout. What's in a Mexican stout? Let's see what Google says. Variety of malts such as Maris Otter, Crystal Dark, Thomas Fawcett, Chinook hops. Special ingredients: cinnamon, vanilla beans, nutmeg, pasilla peppers, liquid cacao, or whatever how you pronounce it. Lactose and chilies de arbol. So there might be a little bit of chili pepper in there. I mean, I'm not picking up a lot. It's not like hot or any heat or anything, but it seems like there's something spicy in there. So maybe there's a little bit of chili pepper in there, just enough to maybe. Oh, yeah, that's good. That's good. Oh, yeah, birdsong. Yeah, I had that jalapeno beer. That one was mind-boggling because you're drinking it and you're tasting jalapenos, but there's no heat at all. It's like, wait, there's jalapenos in my mouth, but there's no heat. It was really weird. Like my brain was like, well, like something's wrong here. Yeah. It was pretty good. It was better than I thought it would be. Because clown shoes, like I said, I've done a couple clown shoes and they're a hit or miss for me. There's some beers I like. Can't think of them offhand because I've only done them once, but yeah, pretty good. Jammer usually gets more clown shoes than I have. At the store I went to, I saw like this and another clown shoes. It's not like they have a variety of clown shoes. Um, they're an all right brewing company. I don't even know where they're out of. Where is clown shoes out of? If I go back to, I can't read on the can because I don't have my glasses on. So they are out of Massachusetts, as my old history teacher used to say. I forget his name, but he used to call it Massachusetts. Yeah, they are out of Boston, Massachusetts. Massachusetts. So, yeah. I gotta get this one down. I got one more spooky beer to do. Which I should have saved this one for last. I think this is gonna be the best one actually, but that's okay. Nice beer. Yeah. Um, Anything else fun to say? Nothing fun to say. Well, I'm trying to think of anything good. I should have been more prepared, but it's kind of hard to do beer reviews in the morning when you wake up because it's morning for me. I used to do that all the time with Jammer because I used to work midnight to 8 o'clock, and this was years ago, and I had Fridays or Saturday, Sunday nights off. I worked overnight shift, but had Saturday, Sundays off. He had regular days and weekends off, and we did beer reviews on Saturday. Well, I wanted to do them at like 4 o'clock, afternoon, early evening. Jammer wanted to do that shit at like 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I get off work at 8. If I do beer reviews at 11 till like, and we did it a couple times where we did them at 11. We just do beer reviews all the way till 6 or 7 o'clock at night. It's like I've almost been up 24 hours doing, you know. So I prefer to do them late afternoon or evening back then. And then all these years too, I worked the overnight shift. He had a weird shift where he worked like 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. I think. And then one time he was working 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. But we did beer reviews around, I think he wanted to do them around 6 or earlier he would try, but because his wife got home around 10 o'clock at night, so he had to be done before she got home. So like we want to do beer reviews at 4, so I had to come home from work. I get off work at 7, so get to bed, be up by 4 to do beer reviews. Yeah, it was tough sometimes. Now he's working the same shift as me, but he's got weekends off. So if we do beer reviews together, it's on a day we both have to work usually, unless it's a Wednesday. But usually it's gonna be a Wednesday or Thursday. But he has to work that night, so he's not doing as many beer reviews as he used to. He could do 2 or 3, maybe 4. Jammer Fan and PA Brew News slow Jammer down with his reviews because he'll stay on a beer review with them they'll join and he'll stay on there for like an hour, hour and a half doing a video with them, which is good for his health, I guess. He's drinking less beer, so. No, I was not a security guard. No. No, sure not, sure not. I was in some type of security field, but not a security guard. But yeah. Actually, I was in the law enforcement field, and Jammer at the time was in a security type thing when we first started doing the beer review. So we didn't show our faces. And then a lot of people were like, "Oh, we used to just show the camera, like we were behind the camera, and all we showed was the beer and the can, and we were sitting behind the camera. We had the camera right here facing that way." And people were like, "You gotta show your faces, you gotta show your faces." Well, I worked in law enforcement at the time. Jammer worked in security. I didn't want to show my face. And yeah, something like a security guard. I was in corrections, actually. Jammer was a security guard. I was a correction officer. Big difference. I was babysitting. But we didn't want to show our faces, and people wanted to see our faces, so we came up with the idea of the mustaches, the shades, and that's how that started. And then I took the mustache off. I even started taking the shades off at one time also. But then I forgot who one of our old time viewers was, like, "Where's the mustache at? And you got to bring the mustache back and the wigs." And so I was like, "Yeah, well," I brought the mustache back. I never wear the wig anymore because it's too hot, My hair is almost as long as the wig anyhow, except for the hairline is lower on the wig, but that's okay. Yeah, I did that many years, 10 years the first stint, and then I left for 2 years. I went back for like another 4 years, and I was like, yeah, I'm done with that. Should have stayed though. If I never left the first place, I could retire in like 2 more years, but full retirement, almost full retirement. But I was like, after 10 years, I was like, hell with that. I left. And then my ex talked me into going back after 2.5 years. I went back. And then after about 3 years, we broke up. I stayed there another year. And then after that, I was like, yeah, I'm done with this. It's not only just the environment. The environment was a bad place to begin with, but then administration, rules, people that worked, not all the people that worked there, but some people that worked there. It was just it's a horrible place to live or a horrible place to work. So. And I know people have been there probably longer than I was. They're probably watching right now saying, "Oh, you probably just couldn't make it." It was just, I got stuck in a certain position for a couple years, and I think that's why I left the first time, because I was like, man, and I guess I got complacent in that position. You get in that position, and it was a good position actually, but then the person I worked with who asked me to work with her, she retired early, she told me anyhow, she retired. Then I started getting different people in that position. None of them were working out, and I was like, I didn't want to go back to a regular position. I was like, yeah, this is just not for me, so I left. Then I came back, and then for the first few months I was there, I was working different positions, which I was like, all right. And then they put me back in my old position again, which I was like, damn. But the person who worked in there, I liked, so I went back. I said, okay, yeah, I'll go work in there, like a dummy. and then that person stayed there for about 4 or 5 months, and then he left, and then the same shit happened. I got stuck with other shitty people. So at that point, when that certain position I worked, once you're in that position, it's hard to get out of it. Even I had surgery, my lung surgery, out of work for 2 months, came back, they said, yeah, they're going to start putting me somewhere else, they're going to start putting someone else in there, and I was still in there all the time, so I was like, hell with it. I left. So, there we go. This is pretty fresh, PA. This is fresh. I don't know what the date is. Let me see if I can see the date. Because I did. Now, the date on this one is 10/20/24. The date on the bottom of the can. So I don't know if it's got to be the Best Buy because I bought it about a month ago. So not bad. Pretty fresh, right? Anywho, yeah, let me get off that situation. Now, what I really wanted to be when I grew up was a rock star, a football player, a rock star. Those both went out the window pretty quick because after my freshman year in high school, I was a pretty skinny kid back then, and same height, 5'8", 130 pounds. Matter of fact, my freshman year I might have been 125 pounds. Sophomore year I might have been 130 pounds. But anyhow, I was too skinny to play what I was good at, which was I liked defensive line, but I was too small to play that. Matter of fact, my freshman year I was probably like third string defensive end. We had so many people on the team, but I put on a good show during preseason tryouts and practice and all that. One of the coaches liked me because I put the licking on, what was his name? Timmy Gilboy, the first hit we did when the first day of hitting, I laid this kid out, but he never played contact football with equipment on or regulation football, I laid him down. It was like a little drill type thing, and coach was ecstatic, but I was too small. But I was surprisingly third string defensive end at that point, and I actually got in some games because we used to kick ass so good, 38-0, whatever. I got a little bit of play time in the fourth quarter, and but by the end of the season, though, it just got less and less. And who hasn't played yet? Our last game of the season, we're kicking Southside High School's ass. Who hasn't played yet? Go in at tight end. I was like, I don't play tight end. I don't give a shit. That's what you're playing today. So I played tight end once. I played tight end all the time, though. Never a wide receiver. But yeah. And then after that year, and then the following year, I was like, yeah, I'm not playing this year. I'm done. What I should have had was a good mentor through the year. Like, you got to bulk up. You got to lift weights. You got to eat a lot of protein. Because I never knew back then. 1987, freshman year in high school, 86, 87, that, okay, I always thought carbs, carbs give you energy. I ate a lot of carbs back then. I was very athletic, very high metabolism. I ate carbs, but what I should have been doing was lifting and eat more protein. Of course, I'm still not big, but I am a lot bigger than I was way back in the day. I'm like 185 pounds now, so pretty huge. Yeah. But even when I used to work there, like one time I got up to, after my surgery, I got up to like 213, 219 pounds at one time. And when I told someone at work, I didn't even look that heavy though still. It's like, yeah, I'm 200. Like, there's no way you're 213 pounds because I have a small body frame, I guess. Small body frame, but packing a lot of muscles. Like this pumpkin, and I'm just blabbing on. That's why I don't like to go live. I just talk and talk and talk. Anyhow, Spinner Swallow beer review, Shagdog. Yeah, this is a great beer, and I'm loving it. And it's wrestling themed. Clown shoes. The wrestler beats that pumpkin. Like a comic on a clown shoe. I'm on the wrong side. Okay, so there, he's wrestling the pumpkin. He wins the match. He's walking away, I guess, here. He's like, wait, let me turn around. And then, I guess he's doing something because he's got four arms, gets the pumpkin's head, slices it off, and then he's wearing the pumpkin's head as his sombrero. Pumpkin sombrero. Bam. Pretty cool shit. And I'm a big wrestling. I'm not the biggest wrestling fan. I don't even watch wrestling anymore. Any new school wrestling in WWE or anything. I did start watching the AEW a few years ago. Got into it a little bit for about a year and a half. But then I just got bored with it after that. I did like the Dark Order in AEW at one time. I thought they should have been pushed a little bit more. They were pushed pretty good at one point, but then they just faded into oblivion, you know. But I did like the Dark Order. That was even after, what's his name? Was it Brody Lee, or went from WWE to AEW? He joined them. I didn't even watch it when he was in there. I wasn't even watching wrestling at that point. But after he died, is when I started watching AEW during COVID. That's when I started watching AEW a little bit, and yeah, I really like the Dark Order. Some other wrestlers. I'm more of the underdog type people, you know. Even what the hell is that like satanic guy's name? I forget his name. But and then he had the wrestler as Mexican type. I don't know if he was a Mexican guy, but he had a luchador type wrestler, Serpentico, mass wrestler. He abused them and shit. But they're like, yeah, even little small characters like that. It's pretty good. Luthor and Serpentico or some shit. Yeah, it was good shit. And I try to get into WWE. I watched it a couple times. I just can't get into it. It's just some of it. Roman Reigns bores me to death. The most boring champion ever, I would think, in my opinion. Very boring. That's why they had to bring The Rock back because Roman Reigns was boring. That's why. But I am more old school wrestling, you know, the 80s, 90s, going up to maybe the mid to late 90s. Some of the early 2000s stuff was okay, a little bit. And then after that, I stopped watching wrestling, you know, at that point. Mud wrestling, maybe, yeah. Regular women wrestling, I can't watch women wrestling. It's just so boring. When I watch regular women wrestling, yeah, some of them are pretty good looking and stuff, don't get me wrong. I enjoy their beauty. But just watching wrestling and for the drama part of it, or because wrestling is a man's soap opera. So we don't need women in our soap opera. It's a man's soap opera. And a few women is all right, but when they have like women wrestling, I like the women that are just like the old school. Maybe I'm a male chauvinist, right? I like the women that are what do they call them? They walk down the aisle with the wrestler, take their robes. I like Miss Elizabeth, all the old school women that, pretty much chauffeured the wrestler around. And don't get me wrong, a lot of those women are athletic and very great. But guess what? Go back to glow wrestling. If we want women wrestling, have their own thing like WNBA. You know, I don't want to watch it. I want to see men all oiled up. That sounds gay. And wrestling. I don't want to see women wrestling. Now, if I want to see women wrestling, I want some pieces coming off, Janet Jackson style or something. And I want total women wrestling, nothing but women. Women Royal Rumble, shit flying off and stuff like that. But with the men, I want good entertainment. I mean, one of the funniest things I saw, and I don't recall seeing it when it happened back in the 90s, but Scott Steiner and Kevin Nash when they're WCW, And there's a little kid and his father, and they want to take a picture with Scott Hall, or not Scott Hall, Scott Steiner and Kevin Nash. I guess when Scott Steiner was part of NWO and WCW. And they asked the kid what his name is, and he says Cameron, and blah, blah, blah. Take a picture with him. So Scott Steiner and Kevin Nash are going to take a picture with the kid. And then the guy's about 3, 2, 1, and then Scott Steiner flexes his arm in front of the kid's face, so you can't see the kid's face. It's just Scott Steiner's bicep. And I laughed so hard when I saw that shit. I was like, man, how did I miss that one? Because that was funny as hell. But, yeah. Just the drama, the comedy stuff of wrestling. I loved it. I mean, even in NWO, when Hulk Hogan came out, WCW, that was what, 1996, right? Had to be 96. July, August, 96, you know, because Kevin Nash and Scott Hall were invading WCW. They're going to fight Sting, Macho Man, and Luger. They had a secret partner. Actually, I didn't even know it was Hogan, you know. I thought somebody else was coming from WWF. And there they are. And then Hogan's coming down. But this is the point I knew it was Hogan. Because I'm expecting, where's their third partner? I thought it was going to be somebody else from WWF at the time, WWE. And then Hogan's coming down. And he's walking. I mean, Savage and I think Luger was taken out quick. Savage and Stinger are getting beat up. And here comes Hogan walking down, walking slow, not really fast, you know, doing it, and then walking casually down the ring. I'm like, I think Hogan's the third man. And he gets in the ring. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash jump out of the ring, and Hogan just, I knew it. I leaned against the rope and did a leg drop on Randy Savage. I knew it right there. When he was walking down the ring, I said, he's the third man. I can't believe this shit. And that was the NWO, and what really perked me at the time was NWO, New World Order. I mean, I had a roommate in the Army. It's all about the New World. Oh, the New World Order's coming. New World Order. Oh, he was really religious, conservative Christian, about Revelation, New World Order. And then here's the New World Order on WCW. The New World Order of Wrestling, as Hogan put it that first night, and then they just called it New World Order. When I heard, this is the New World Order of Wrestling, brother, I was like, this is evil. I never liked Hogan anyhow. Sorry, I went on a rant there. I never saw that. I never saw the Ultimate Warrior on Arsenal. I'll have to look that up. And Ultimate Warrior, I like the Ultimate Warrior, but man, that dude was so high on himself and so strung out with steroids, I guess. But I liked him, and I'm actually happy. Before he died, when he got put into the, it was like, I mean, what a. You know, he gets put into the Hall of Fame finally, and he died. And then Monday Night Raw, he shows up, gives this great speech at Monday Night Raw, and dies like the next day or whatever it is, day or two later, of a heart attack. That's like poetic. Yeah, a lot of people didn't like, a lot of wrestlers didn't like Ultimate Warrior, but there are some wrestlers. What's the name? Steve Lombardi, the Brooklyn Brawler. There are some wrestlers out there that liked, what was his name? Hedwig, something Hedwig, or Ultimate Warrior's real name. A lot of people liked him. I mean, he was probably brought in at a young age. Him and Sting came in together as they were bodybuilders in California. They decided to go wrestling. The Blade Runners, or whatever they're called, UWF, or Universal Wrestling Federation. At that point, Ultimate Warrior gets called up first. His name was Ultimate Warrior. Then it was like they had Blade Runners. I forget the hell their names were. But he gets called to the AWA first, and he goes into AWA as a Dingo Warrior. And I actually, I don't know if it's ESPN or some channel showed AWA at the time when he was there, and I saw the Dingo. I was like, Dingo Warrior, wow, this guy's crazy. And then all of a sudden I saw him in WWF, but his name now was the Ultimate Warrior. I was like, that's the Dingo Warrior. Oh, okay. And but a lot of people said he was, but yeah. And he wanted more money at one time and did the match, and then Vince fired him or whatever the hell happened. But yeah, when you're drawing to the crowd, you deserve more money, I guess, right? And I think at that point Hogan was gone. When I don't know, he came back at WWF at one point in '95 for a little while and then disappeared real quick. And then in '97, '98, he shows up in WCW for a short stint, there as a One Warrior Nation instead of NWO as OWN, which I was like, wow, Warrior, yeah, this is great. But he kidnapped a disciple, which was Brutus Beefcake, part of the NWO, the disciple, disappears with him, the lights go out, they disappear. And then you might have saw him one other time after that, and then that was it. I was like, man, I was looking forward to that Ultimate Warrior, One Warrior Nation storyline, and they just ended it real quick. I was like, it would have been nice for Warrior and Sting to get back together, tag up against Hogan or whoever of the NWO. Yeah, just didn't happen. Here I am going on about wrestling. I'm supposed to be reviewing beers. I never gave a grade on this. Let's do it. Yeah, a little beer. Jesus. Clown Shoes Nation. They're Pumpkin Sombrero. Mexican-Style Chocolate Stout with pumpkin puree. Pretty good beer. I'm going to give it an A- and a swallow and a quarter. There you go. I went way too long in this video, but talking about wrestling, but that's what, Now, in my young days, I was a big Jimmy Superfly Snuka fan in my early 80s, days when I first started watching wrestling. Actually, before I saw Jimmy Snuka, I can't remember what wrestling organization, Southwest Wrestling, or some weird wrestling organization, had the original Brown Sugar Brown, something else. Had Tommy Rich. It might have been even, I don't think it was the WCCW in Texas with Devon Eriks, but it was some Southwest organization. Tommy Rich, God, I can't remember who else was in that. That's my first exposure to professional wrestling, I think. It was on like ESPN or something, like 1981, 82. And then when I went up to visit my cousin where he lived in town, and R.I.P. David Lee, just passed away like a little bit over a year ago. He had some kids in his neighborhood, and they were talking about Jimmy Snuka and all these other wrestlers. I was like, I never seen that. Oh, it's on this time on Saturdays or whatever day WWF was on. So I started watching that wrestling. Bob Backlund, Jimmy Snuka. They were talking about that match. Jimmy Snuka jump off the top of the cage on Bob Backlund or whatever. This was before Hogan got there. And so then I started watching that, and I was like, yeah, Jimmy Snuka. Then later on, the whole pineapple, banana in the mouth, pineapple broken on his head by Roddy Piper. So distraught as a child, seeing that happen. On Piper's Pit, Roddy Piper breaking a coconut over Snuka's head and shoving a banana in his mouth. Now that I'm older, it's even more degrading. Thinking about it, I was like, wow, that's, yeah. Anyhow, Yeah, I was very upset. Then Snuka has a little bout with Morocco, or the Morocco thing might have even been before Snuka, I think. But yeah. And then Snuka, I think because of his murder accusations with the girlfriend dying back then, 83, 84, whatever year it was, Snuka kind of disappeared a little bit. He was there when Hogan came in, and I think the first WrestleMania, Snuka was in, or was it WrestleMania 2? Snuka was in Mr. T and Snuka's corner, whatever the hell it was. That's about it. I guess they're, because he was a big fan favorite still, they were trying to give him a little bit, but Snuka like faded out. He disappeared for a couple of years, probably went to AWA or something. Came back, and they made him more of like a, kind of like, Samoan, like, whoo, whoo, making jungle noises and shit. I was like, what the fuck? And yeah, Snuka, yeah, just never reached those levels that I was hoping for, as a child. And then, of course, later years, a few years ago, Jimmy Snuka brought up on charges for that murder finally, and then I guess they released him from court or something because he had dementia and stomach cancer or something, and he supposedly died of stomach cancer. Whether it was that or dementia, I don't know, but that was right after the court thing where they just dropped the charges because of his dementia, I guess, is what they said, but dropped the case or whatever. Anyhow, Jimmy Snuka, but yeah, Jimmy Snuka was my favorite wrestler. I liked a lot of wrestlers in the 80s, but Jimmy Snuka might have been my favorite in the early 80s. Late 80s, early 90s, I'd have to say Sting became my next famous wrestler. My favorite wrestler. Sting. I did like, I was never a big Razor Ramon fan or Diesel, but when they became NWO, Wolfpack, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, I like them. Yeah, there's a lot of wrestlers I like, a lot of them. Yeah, I even like wrestlers that make a big change. Like Sting going from Sting to Crow Sting, awesome makeover. Hogan, from Hulk Hogan to Hollywood Hogan, was a big change, which I knew could have been possible because Hogan kind of played the villain side in his early days, before when he was in AWA or whatever, a little bit. Not that bad, but yeah. Another big one was Gold Dust. From Dust and Rose to Gold Dust was the biggest. Even though I was pretty gay, and a lot of people were like, "What the hell?" At that time, that was big. That was huge. I still like Gold Dust to this day. I mean, because you think of the old wrestlers like that way back, Gorgeous George, and then you think of the '80s, Adrian Adonis, and what the hell's the other guy? His name? He dressed up as a girl a little bit. Shit, I can't remember his name. He wasn't in WWF. He was in some other organization, but blonde hair and makeup and shit. But Dustin Rose took that to a new level because it wasn't just dress up like a girl and be effeminate. It was actually like something outrageous with gold dust and gold face and fucking all glittery and uncomfortable as it was, But he thanks a lot of other wrestlers like, what's his name, Savio Vega or whatever, like, just put your arms around me and, like, rub me down. So he got a lot of help. He was uncomfortable at first doing that. He didn't get over it at first. But a lot of wrestlers helped him with it. And that Goldust character really got over, I think. And not that the character could get, there's probably some other wrestlers that could do the same thing, but for Dustin Rose to do that, I thought that was a big jump from where he was before that, going to Goldust. That was probably the biggest makeover wrestler I could say. One of the biggest. Yeah. Now, I hope that doesn't give Dustin Rose any PTSD from doing that shit for many years. Or some dreams about Sabio Vega or whatever his name was rubbing him on the chest. It's pretty funny. But I'm doing my WWE 2K24. I got the I forget the mode, but you go through basically you do seasons or whatever. So I started off. I kind of like imagined that WCW, WWF were all combined, like Ted Turner and McMahon, joined forces. And so I got like WWE, Raw, SmackDown. I got WCW Saturday night, not Nitro, but Saturday night, and I got AWA. So I got all the wrestlers going in there from all the. I'm in 2000. I'm in 1992 right now. Started off in '88, but I'm like deleting wrestlers. I'm like, okay, that wrestler would be retired by now. But what I'm doing is dead wrestlers that died early, young age. Eddie Gilbert, whoever. I'm continuing them like they didn't die. Yokozuna, I'm going to continue him like he didn't die. Might even convert them to be more, back in when it became Attitude Era in the late '90s or whatever. I'm going to adjust them. Even some wrestlers like T.A. Magnum, cowboy type, and he got injured. He went out of wrestling, retired early. But I'm going to make him more hardcore, later on, like into the mid or late '90s. He never got in that car accident in my world. What guy here? I don't know if this is. People sending me stuff, but. My True Review. Hey, even the My True Review things are showing up, so that's great. Hey, I'm sorry I rambled on about wrestling. I got a damn can of beer. It's got a pumpkin being wrestled by a luchador with 4 arms, and he rips the pumpkin man apart and makes a sombrero hat. That's what happens. I wish my good buddy Jammer, even Jammer Fan, could have joined me. I should have asked Jammer Fan if he could have joined. He made one comment in the first video, but let's send that message to my good buddy Jammer Fan. He's more of a Shagdog fan than a Jammer fan, I think. Although I think him and Jammer relate more on certain things. But yeah, I think Jammer Fan enjoys me more doing beer reviews with him. Now when all 3 of us are on, yeah, I can't even get a word in. Him and Jammer. Yep. Can't get a word in. Alright, well that's it for this one. Shagdog Spitter Swallow beer review. I will be back on in 10 minutes. My last beer is a haunted house type beer. And we'll see you on the next one. Spitter Swallow beer review. Thanks for watching.